Hello and thanks for joining us. Happy Sunday. The issue of fake certificate is in an increase. Many have questioned the issue why governments across Africa are unable to resolve the issue of fake certificates. In Cameroon, over 1,319 or 17 fake certificates were determined by Cameroon's military for a communique that was released by the spokesperson of the military, indicating that more than 1,317 recruits within the military had fake certificates, fake baccalaureate, fake probatoire, fake GC ordinary and advanced level, just to name but these. Now, within this aspect, this is just the military. What of the different ministries in Cameroon where these certificates are being used? The worst scenario are those who travel out of the nation, in which most of their certificates are being questionable. Now, with this recent release of over 1,317 fake certificates as indicated by Cameroon's military, there is a question that many are asking: how will this harm Cameroon's credibility in terms of certificate to be used abroad? How will other nations look at us when our own government is announcing that more than 1,300 people were duly recruited with fake certificate? And this now pushes us to some basic question we should be asking. Are we really serious in this our beloved nation that worth no tongue can tell? Oftentimes when we sing the national anthem, many has alluded to the fact that we are true to our anthem in Cameroon. In fact, we are very true to our anthem. We are so patriotic to our anthem in Cameroon, and we live by what the anthem says. That's why the worth no tongue can tell. The worth of corruption in Cameroon, no tongue can tell. The worth of tribalism, no tongue can tell. The worth of regionalism, no tongue can tell. The worth of backbiting, no tongue can tell. That worth of mismanagement, no tongue can tell. It is only in this nation that an individual will embezzle more than 2 billion CFA francs, in which in his entire life, divided that by 100 years, that person will have to be eating at least 3 million a day. And that money will not finish until God calls that person. Which now tells us that we are true to our anthem, that their worth no tongue can tell. And how can we be to the name ever true? We are true to that name when we look at corruption. But how long shall this be? The question we should also ask ourselves is, those 1,317 people who were duly recruited and that presented fake certificates as indicated by Cameroon's military, how did they certify their documents? We know that in Cameroon, the principle of writing concours or government entrance examination in the English parlance, it is rigorous, which means you must certify a document, and the authentication of documents is done at the level of the senior division at the divisional office. And now we are asking the question: the divisional office that did not issue a certificate, that is not a degree granting body. Should that office be the one to authenticate certificates, or the back body, or the GC board body? Are we not giving an accurate work to a wrong office? How then can this authentication be? Or are we only interested in the collection of physical stamp? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Javis. Happy Sunday to you, Madam Engineer Dixon. Happy Sunday to the children. Happy Sunday to all those of you who are watching us. And happy Father's Day. A Father's Day to you all. And I will sing this song before I introduce you my panelists. Sweet Papa, we no go forget you. For this suffer way you suffer for we. If we no go school, wa Papa no go rest. If we no get school fees, wa Papa no go rest. He no dey tire, huh? Sweet Papa, we no go forget the suffer where you suffer for we. Sweet Papa, sweet Papa, oh, when we dey hungry, while Papa go argue for office because of 500 we want add and can't take care for we. In the enter house, we know the see, he hide the pain, he just the smile for we. Happy Father's Day to all those of you, and also to introduce my panel, Dr. Michael Dimancho. He is author to several books and also a lecturer in some state university, founder of the New Era Youth for Africa, and his recent publication, which talks about the untold history of an undescribable people, talking about the history of Noni, that is the people of Noni before the arrival of the colonial masters on the 12th of July 1884 when Cameroon was annexed. This book now goes beyond, talks before the 12th of July 1884, how and what were the Noni people living. Dr. Michael Dimancho, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Jarvis, and I'm happy that you wish of happy Father's Day.
I'm telling you, the mothers have always taken...
Yeah, of course. They have so many days for mothers. Even days that are not for mothers officially, we fathers will make the day official for them. And the day that you don't call your wife to say happy day, she has a problem with you. So I'm happy that at least once in a year we are recognized, and I'm a happy father. And I say hello to my kids and my wife. And of course, it's always a pleasure to answer present at House of Commons and to be able to share my views on House of Commons. I know it's a Sunday program and it's a household program, and many people are now glued to their TV screens to watch House of Commons. So, and we're talking about a very, very pertinent subject which deals with certificate. And you know, that is also part of my domain as a teacher, as a lecturer. One of the issues is about formation of young people. And when we talk about formation of young people, well, we put you into context to see whether is it the certificate that gives credibility? Is it a certificate that earns them the potentials? Is it a certificate that gives for career advancement? Is it a certificate that is for, that motivates? Or it is the formation in itself that motivates? And at the end of the day, what counts? Is it what your input, or is it a certificate you carry in your bag or in your file to move around that counts? And that is what we are going to be discussing today. It's quite a touching topic, and it touches on all the young people in Cameroon. I know many young people in Cameroon are very, very frustrated, and that is why you feel that education is very expensive, and at one moment you realize that ignorance is much more expensive than education. Thank you so much for inviting me, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Michael Dimancho, author of the latest book titled The Untold Story of an Undescribable People, which look forward to talk about with major perspective on its people, origin, tradition, economic activities, and self-reliant development initiative of the people of Noni. And how do they say happy Sunday in Noni?
When she always say Sunday would you know, Sunday came as a new word to the Noni language. Because we're talking linguistics here, Sunday was not a word in Noni language. So we have to use again the day Sunday as they use in the English language, because we didn't have the word Sunday in our language.
It's like
we have 8 days of the week in the Noni language, the calendar, but the English, they have 7 days.
Okay, and that's why in every language, to talk about the issue of cell phone, we have a descriptive pronouns, because the phone came after the language had been established. The same thing with a vehicle. You describe it in all language. You have something like a moving house.
That's right.
So regardless of how it's pronounced, but it's a description. And also in the studio, we are joined also by Mr. Asia, who is also someone that believes firmly on the respect of the rule of law. And he is someone that also sees that we must be able to educate our students and our people, following principles that can help them to acquire jobs and skills, and not just the paper that is given to them. He is also a teacher across some secondary schools in Douala, this commercial capital. Mr. Asia, happy Sunday, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you also very much, Mr. Javis. It's my pleasure to be on panel. I want to still wish all the fathers and myself happy Father's Day. I think we are here to enlighten Cameroonians on certain aspects and also to contribute to the nation building. I pray we have a good debate this Sunday, and viewers of my media, please stay tuned.
Here in the studio, we are joined by someone who is also a lecturer across some state universities and private universities in Cameroon, and he has contributed enormously to research when it comes to the engineering department, come up with policies and propose policies for sewage drainage system and also disposal in the commercial capital Douala. And also he has supervised several dissertations of students within the higher educational field and believe firmly in the respect of the rule of law and the principles that governs the higher education family. He is a no-nonsense person when it comes to the higher education family and director of a school which I will not want to mention for publicity reasons because that will amount to publicity. Engineer Dixon is also a father, as other fathers here in the studio. Happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday, dear televiewers. Happy Sunday, dear panelists. I think Father's Day is a special day for us all, so I want to use this opportunity to say Happy Father's Day to my beloved father, who might be watching me now from Kumba, Mr. Chu Tabi. Happy Father's Day. And also, I want to say Happy Father's Day to Honorable Simon Powo Kumasi, and also to extend my hand of appreciation to the fact that he spoke to power. He questioned why Cameroon doesn't have light. And I think that the fire and the flame, energy and charisma, with which I saw a CPGM parliamentarian challenging the minister is something we should applaud. It means that change has started. And like we always say, change, we are the change we want to see. So when you start becoming the change you want to see, then the landscape will change. Also, I want to say congratulations to the president of ECA Food, President Samuel Eto'o, for the understanding that he has displayed so far. I think there is a relatively calmness now. Cameroonians are at peace, and we see the games are going on. So I want to say congratulations.
Hoping that we'll not have any international match here, because that's when that will be a litmus test whether we are peace or not.
Exactly. So, but I think so far there is calm.
You know, this is Father's Day, and also it's a day that many of us expect that our mothers or our wives will take us out. But unfortunately, they will say, "Babe, today is Father's Day. Take us out now." Thank you very much, gentlemen. In the studio, I'll begin the program with you, Engineer Dixon. I'll begin the program with you. Okay. We're looking at the issue of fake certificate in Cameroon. Many ask the question if our government itself would officially release a certificate, an announcement indicating that over 1,317 or so fake certificates were determined from newly recruited. Many are asking, would that not hamper the credibility of Cameroon certificate internationally?
Mr. Javis, clearly spoken, I think it's a limitation in the educational system of Cameroon, not necessarily educational system, but I think the ethical perception of education as we have it in our society today. If we are discovering this now, we have just gone back to the military sector. I think if we go to all the other sectors, yes, we will see the same. So this is just like the litmus in the whole structure.
This is not the first time the military is doing this.
Exactly. So 1,300 persons recruited that now have to be dismissed. That is not a small number. That's a huge loss. These are people who want to serve the nation, but by virtue of admission requirement into the force, they are limited. But how do they bypass this? So before I dive into that, I think we should look at what is the motivation factor what will cause youths to go about faking certificates. The first thing I can observe there is economic pressure, which I think Dr. Michael started by highlighting. Economic pressure is when you feel you need that certificate to belong or play a certain role in the society. And this goes back to blame the policymakers, because many sectors are not functioning well in our economy. I've been saying this time and again. Many sectors are not functioning well. There are sectors that can integrate youth in Cameroon in numbers without even looking at certain level of qualifications. And every sector in Cameroon have minimum intake requirements. If you come to higher education, the Minister of Higher Education say minimum requirement is master's degree for you to take a course in the higher educational system. So if you have first degree, then you want to come into the system, and you probably, doctor also made mention of the fact that education is expensive, which is true. You find that people go now, fake the certificate just to belong in that class. That brings me to social expectations. So social expectation is the second reason why people fake certificate. Because you have been in this class, you feel like, oh, that's where you belong. You don't see yourself going back to farm. You say, no, you have to fake the certificate. And the third point that causes people to fake certificate is limited access to education. I think the president's vision to liberalize higher education is something that we should applaud. But this applaud should be accompanied by proper follow-up, because we have a lot of private higher institutes now that are doing whatever they want. There are a lot of charlatans. Why? Because we are not seeing the inspections and follow-ups that guarantees the standard and expectation, the quality that we want to see. So that limited access to education. Now, we should ask ourselves again, what procedure led to the success of these 1,300 students? In your editorial, you highlighted one. What local standing do the GO have to present at a presentation of originals as a document, meaning the GO looks at a document and say, this document is original? I think that destroys meritocracy, because the issuing body of every certificate should be the one that tells which one is fake or which one is not fake. If you are from University of Boya, University of Chang, these certificates have to go back to them, and they issue. So what the GO was supposed to be doing is to collect some money for these documents to go back to the schools where the people claim it's coming from. These schools now are the ones who say, we recognize the certificate was issued this year, we recognize the certificate, and they produce a statement document called authentication, which you made mention of. Yes. The GC board does that. Every university can do that. The Ministry of Higher Education itself does that. So if the student is coming with an attestation of completion of studies, it's the school. But if the student is coming with a certificate, then it's Ministry of Higher Education, because Ministry of Higher Education issues these certificates. So Ministry of Higher Education is the one who has to say, yes, we issue these certificates so and so here. So I think that, having said this, all of this needs to be revised, Mr. Javis.
Mr. Ezia, the issue of fake certificates now, how did we first of all get here? That we are talking about an increased level of fake certificate. What is the problem?
You see, the problem lies on the system. So it is a system that has encouraged this, and it is an indicator of what we call the development, because the system gives room to this. If you look at the system that we are operating, we have highlighted many things and the causes of fake certificates. One of the reasons being repeated failure, and then people want to fake certificates so that they can have job and be part of the society also. The economic factor comes to play. But you see that the system that is put in place permits this. Because, for example, if you say that they have identified, but in the course of their registration, in the course of the concours, what happened? I want to tell you that, Mr. Javis, there are certain things that are even encouraged by those who are the stakeholders. They give room to this. If somebody tells me a university is going to offer a degree or a certificate to show that, those things can still be done in the quarter. So the problem is the system is supposed to come out in such a way that a certificate should be identified by the competent authority. And I mean, certificate should be such a way, like we have a national ID card now, which has a small picture on it like that. I think certificate should be in such a way that if you can pass it under a machine, it shows that this certificate is original. But once the certificate remains vague as they are, if you look our certificate, they are vague. They are just papers signed, and they have nothing to show that
have a chip.
They don't have anything. So I think that's where the problem lies. Certificate, be it from primary school, first school certificate, it must have something that if you show, you don't need two things to tell somebody that it's an original.
Like when you look at money.
When you look at money, for example, if they show you money, there are signs on money that tell you that this money is fake money and this one is original. So, but once the system allows the certificate to be how they are, we must have fake certificate. Now, is there a control on certificate in Cameroon? I don't think so. Because if there is a control, that is the Ministry of Secondary Education that is in charge of this certificate. If there is a control that sees that this certificate are given to the right person, you see that we will not arrive at this point. So these are all indicators of underdevelopment. And you see many people, the issue of fake certificate is coming as a result of the fact that there is corruption. Because even they say they are satisfying at the level of the DO's office. Does the DO actually take time to look at those documents? That is a problem. He does not.
The speed at which these things are authenticated.
Just you come and then you place them in a file like that. If you have never done it, I've been part and parcel of it. And at times the DO is not even the signatory to these things. They just need to pick a stamp and pull like that, and they say it has been satisfied. So it's a system that to fight it, the whole system needs to be rehauled. So the issue of fake certificate, my brother, is a very pertinent thing that the stakeholder, the government needs to come in and see that, because it's a disgrace. It does not credit the certificate of Cameroonians. They are workers here in Douala. I bet you most of our brothers that left the Yaoundé universities in the 90s, they are working with fake certificates. Because they present the certificate, they say they are from University of Yaoundé. But how can those people, even in the private sector, I don't know, maybe the government can have a yardstick to identify that. How do principals, of the secondary school, how do they identify that this is a fake certificate? It becomes a problem. So I feel it is a problem of the system, and the system know that this is going on. Because if we are talking about the military, what about the other sectors? And we have people that are working in those sectors with fake certificates, and they fully know that this man like this in this place does not deserve this position, and they are still working and they cover them. So it's a very big problem, Mr. Javis, that I think only the government alone can solve this.
Dr. Michael Dimancho, my question now to you, Doctor, is the degree granting body is being bypassed in the certification? Are we not robbing Peter to pay Paul and still expecting a different result? Because how does the DO find himself authenticating GC, ordinary, and advanced level in which he is not the person that grants the certificate? How do you authenticate something that you are not the producer?
Let me tell you, some of these administrators are just what they call the research verifiers. What I mean by that is that they verify whether you are paid the necessary stamps. It is not the degree, it's not the certificate they are verifying. Why is the DO verifying the certificate? The DO does not verify the certificate. That when he put a stamp, for him to put a stamp, it shows that you for him to put his own personal stamp, it shows that you are paid the fiscal stamp. Which is 1,500. This is 1,500. So we are just
now interested in the fiscal
stamp. That is the thing. The government has put the DOs there to be able to verify that money enters into the treasury. That is what is happening. So it is a who sham. It is a problem that we are facing. And the problem we have to face, correct from the base. What is a certificate? A certificate is a validation of knowledge. It's a validation of knowledge. And when you give a fake certificate, is a violation of that knowledge. And therefore, when you say that they are doing a verification of a certificate, it needs to go to the source where the students graduated. It is unfortunate that we don't have a database where they can verify from all over. Where you click from your computer, you are able to see, according to the matricule, according to where this student graduated. In modern countries, we have that. Where you can start in the US today. Of course, you don't need the social security and your matricule and the tab from your office desktop. Every information comes out. What are we trying to shoot for in Cameroon?
We are advanced democracy, Doctor.
What advanced democracy? And I want to say that when you ask, even in developed world, when you ask for certificates are specific to jobs. My brother, when you are going for a military exam and they are asking you for some of those certificates that have nothing to do with the training that you are going to do, because certificate is specific, it shows your skills. That is what I want to say here. Certificates show your skills, that you are competent in this domain. Imagine that I did A1, for example, advanced level. That's history, French, literature, and then I'm going to the military. And that is what they want to show, that I'm competent to go and train in the bush, go and fight war. In modern world, they don't do that. And that is why all this charm is happening, because all that we are looking for in Cameroon and most of African countries is money.
The physical stamp.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we're looking for. Money has to handle the treasury. So even this thing that they say 1,000 whatsoever fake certificate, the government is a complicity to all of these things.
Who signed
They
them?
know. And let me tell you, for what you don't know, is that they organize a concours and they need 500 people, and they want even 1 million people to apply so that they have the stamps, the money for the stamps.
Because if you do a mathematics doctor, Dimancho, mandate for, I think, some of these entrance examinations is 20,000.
Yeah.
You're talking about 20,000, yeah. Now, you multiply that 20,000 times the 1,317 that have been, or will be sacked, or has been sacked, it gives you a good number of money. Now you multiply that 1,317, they have averagely about 5 documents to certify.
Yes.
5 documents, a physical stamp is 1,500.
1,500.
So you multiply the 1,500
That is the
times 5 document, then times now 1,317 persons.
Now you understand what I'm talking about. Look at a country where people barely, these youths barely eat per day, where youths are fighting with poverty. And you have to spend how much for stamps in order to get for this exam. Even we just don't have competent lawyers in Cameroon. They will even sue the government to court. Yes, we sue the government to court. Because you do this, we will have to start from who verified or who certified the document. I said, you certified my document and said it's okay now.
Yes.
I took my document and when I submitted. And then when I submitted the document, I passed my entrance exam, and then you come and tell me that, no, my documents were fake. What is the meaning of that? And you don't reimburse. They don't reimburse reimbursement.
Yeah, because I was about to ask you the question, that, okay, let's assume that the certificate are fake, but now, it's a government office that certifies that it's okay. Which you brought the certificate to your government office to actually check whether they're okay before verification. Now that office says it's okay, put a stamp on it, a government stamp, and sign. And you take it now and write the concours, and they come and tell you after that, no, the document that it was stamped was fake. My question to you now is it not the government faking the government?
The government is playing escapism. That is what the government is doing. It doesn't want to be taken for the act that it has committed. So it throws back the act to the citizen, to the youth. And that is where the problem is. And we are just sitting, we are watching. And see, the talk about today is that youths are giving fake certificates. They are failing to look at the part that the government is playing. And everybody is falling for it. And let me tell you, our government have failed our youth. Look at youths who are barely surviving. You see, education, I said in my opening statement that education is expensive. Imagine that you are in Cameroon. To go from primary school, well, it's a sham that the primary school is even free, because it's not even free as such. Because when they say the primary school is free, PTA dues, can you imagine? There are many parents who cannot pay the PTA dues, and the government is ignorant to that. I don't know whether they are in complicity again. They should still be in complicity. I know.
The education is free, but they have to be buildings and...
What buildings, my brother?
The Jews are supervising.
That is the thing. Now go to the secondary school. What happens there? The PTA is a different thing.
It's more than the fee.
It's more than the fee in the PTA. And I even hear the minister is inside it. Now, go to the university.
The minister is...
Of course. That you know more than me. You are an investigative journalist.
Yes, but I don't know.
You should get. Yes. Then the minister. Okay, let me. Then the minister works in complicity with the PTA association.
We have to verify this.
Yes, you verify that. Get that. We have had those things in the southwest region, which was burning somewhere in the past, whereby the PTA in the southwest region created a lot of issues because the minister let things go.
Okay, now that's the
So
angle coming
find
from.
out.
So
Maybe in the next program you bring also a report. Now getting now to the higher education, it's a different thing. Even though they say fee in a state university is 50,000 francs, my brother, 50,000 francs is still much more than what an average Cameroonian can pay. not thinking about what somebody will eat per day in the morning. Transportation. Because when you increase prices of fuel, do you know what it means? It means that you are merely just stopping people from moving from one area to another.
And which is a ripple effect.
Which is really a problem. And knowing that our universities are only in regional centers where you have to leave.
All faculties
Are jam-boxed.
Like University of Boya.
Yes.
All faculties
They are in one place.
Veterinary.
Imagine that somebody has to leave.
FHS, which is in
somebody. What are those villages? Fengfong, like the southwest. Kwakwa. Nakebole, all those places. To come to Boya. Because you want to go to the university. My brother, better use that small money to start doing your small trade, which of course may not work. And that is why when they launch a concours, people want to leave those areas, those remote areas, to come, because at least they know that this is an opportunity. And knowing that they didn't have the qualification that they needed, they are forced to fake. And when they are forced to fake, the government collaborate. To make it go through. Let me tell you, and that's why I'm saying that we don't have lawyers in Cameroon. The government collaborate for make it go through. And then when it goes through now, and they have gotten the money that they are supposed to have, now they come back to say, no, this is another way of discrediting them. Now, boy, you didn't have the right certificate. No reimbursement. Ask them where that money has gone to. There's no reimbursement.
They will tell you that it's a crime for fake certificate.
Crime for certificate.
Which means that we also have to arrest the person that signed it.
See, when we talk about corruption, you are corrupt, you who give and you who receive.
Both of them are corrupt.
You are all corrupt. So the crime is both sides. The person who certified the document and the person who came to certify the document, they are all criminals. And therefore the jurors should be taken to questioning. That is what we're talking about.
We'll be coming back. This is a serious issue because even though it's interwoven.
That's it.
Because you can no longer penalize.
No, it's a two-way thing. It's a two-way thing.
Of which this boy alone has an accomplished engineer. Let me come to you, but let me take on this message. Greetings, honorable members of the House of Commons, and happy Father's Day. Many arguments have been raised regarding whether employers and recruitment officers should accept fake certificates. 90% of employers and recruitment offices have indicated that they would accept fake certificates as long as the individual possesses the necessary skills. This leads me to my main point of discussion. Education in Cameroon needs to be improved. Educational institutions, particularly in the private sector, often prioritize financial gain over the education and training of students. Financial burdens are a major obstacle preventing people from obtaining legitimate certificate. This is coming from Engineer Nkwele Dennis. And this other one, right, it says, Dear panelists, good morning and happy Father's Day. Measures to combat fake certificates in Cameroon. The government ought to have a database that captures certificate issues from primary schools to university. There ought almost be a verification mechanism to check this during all recruitment process. During application, your application should be rejected if you are not eligible. For example, if you apply for a position for first school leavers, the system should be able to accept or reject you. It will indicate whether the candidate is an O-level or an advanced level holder and not eligible for this applicant. The certificate should carry a code of verification that carries full information on the potential holder. There is no need to certify certificate authentically in a machine verification system. Thanks. This is from Sovereign from Bogop. Maybe I did not pronounce that village correctly. Please do forgive me. Happy Sunday to you. I am Dennis from Boya. I want to say that this issue of fake certificate in Cameroon is a mafia. Are those in charge of concours going to reimburse the over 1,300 candidates? Mafianism. This is coming from Overcoma. And this other one, it says, happy Sunday to you in the studio. Happy Sunday to the engineer and doctor, and also my brother whom you introduced as a teacher in secondary schools in Douala. I really like the program, and I'm really motivated by seeing the fact that Cameroonians are rising. But the question is, will this government actually take these proposals that you guys are saying Will the government actually bring it to table and implement it? We have seen a lot of beautiful proposals being given, but unfortunately, as we always say in Pidgin, place where you chop, you know the talk plenty. This one right is coming from Ndize Andreas, writing from Yaoundé. The problem with fake certificate is not the fact that they do certify them. The problem is rather with our institutions in the École superior. For you to be awarded a certificate, your advanced level certificate is taken to GC board by the institution to confirm that the individual actually had his advanced level. Other institutions should copy this. Asking the GC board to certify certificate before concours is written will create more problems because the GC board do not certify 10,000 certificates within 2 weeks, which is always a time span for the registration of public concours. Do you agree with that?
Come again.
This person is saying that asking that the GC board should certify is not going to be possible because the GC board cannot certify 10,000 certificates within 2 weeks.
No, they can do it. They can do it to authentify it now. Yeah. GC has an electronic system. No, for the GC board, I respect their system. They can do it, but I think, like Dr. Mike was saying, that the GOs are supervising the physical stamp. Yeah. So when certificates come in front of them, they are checking by the stamp, the physical stamp.
It don't pay.
Is it the physical stamp for the physical year, or it's an old physical stamp, or it's a fixed stamp, and they just sign? Mr. Javis, I started by saying one of the main reasons why people fake certificates is economic pressure. This brings us to a broader perspective. It's only in Cameroon I see that people who are not within the sphere of government are seen to be lost. Meaning, for you to feel you are successful, you need to have a government matico.
The matico syndrome.
The matico syndrome, yeah. Which has brought us to the certificate syndrome, not the skill acquisition syndrome. But these same Cameroonians, when they travel out of the country and go to United Arab Emirates, they go to Canada, they go to US, you discover that their mindset changes.
They don't look at maticos again.
They don't look at maticos, neither do they look at these big certificates. They find themselves taking short training programs to earn a living. Why do they succeed in these areas I've mentioned? Because these areas took time to develop their economy. If the Cameroon policymakers and those who are advising the decision takers economically, they will see that their priority is to restructure this economy. Like I said, there are many sectors in this economy that are not functioning. One is energy. Again, I will applaud Honorable Paul Simon Kumasi.
Yeah, we are having him here twice on House of Congress.
Yes, he's someone I respect very much. When he want to speak the truth, he is one of the CPDM parliamentarians I know is not scared to speak the truth at any time. He says it as it is, raw. People should be held accountable. You are Minister of Agriculture. Believe me, I'm not seeing agricultural activities visible. The whole thing is like mafia. You see, these mafia dons, they operate but underground.
Held accountable for the tractors that were abandoned in 2010 at the Ebola.
My brother,
that's huge money.
We had hundreds of tractors that entered this country. No, hundreds of tractors came into this country 2014. I think 2013, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And these tractors were to go to cooperative, farmers cooperative association. By now, we're supposed to see agricultural boom. Agriculture alone can recruit 1 million Cameroonian youths. Agriculture, from the production to the agroeconomics to the, we want to get to supermarkets and see the Cameroonian food. Yeah. All these things they are bringing saucisson, all this corned beef from outside. No, we should open meat processing units in abattoirs, where this meat go to the supermarkets, made in Cameroon, beefs made in Cameroon, preserved in Cameroon. These possibilities are, this potential is there. If these things start happening, the matico syndrome will die. Cameroonians are going too much in school because there is no opportunity. You see a young man spending 10 years, 20 years schooling, only to come back after having professor. He's sitting in front of Minister of Education crying that he does not have job.
A doctor.
A doctor.
What was his dissertation?
Can you imagine?
Wow.
It is not his fault. It is not his fault. He entered into the scam. He thought he was following a course, only to come at the end of the tunnel discover he
And
had
he
been scammed.
certifies his documents.
He certifies his
certifies
documents. You see what I'm saying? He discovers he's in a scam. And the economy has not been structured to favor him. Now he has spent all his life in school. He goes to company, then we go and try and company. They say you are too overqualified. We cannot pay you. Because sincerely, like I said, there is structural salary barem for every institution. All companies have their salary barem. And companies will be more comfortable to work with somebody who has a back who is competent. They know that will give you 150,000 you perform the job.
Or 200.
Or 200,000. Than to go and take somebody with a master's that will come and say, I need 500,000-600,000. You see the problem. But now, how can we structure the economy so that things are functioning, the roads are there, and you see that what will happen? All Cameroonians get to work. We will not come and be having this, sit on this platform and be talking about fake certificate that is not fake, because the government, if it's in terms of education, they have really structured it. We have vocational training, which is 6 months, 12 months training. You acquire a skill. Is it plumbing you want to do? You go to vocational training, you do
But
plumbing.
the question now, engineer, is do we now recruit people based on these skills? We have created vocational training. Do we actually focus on these skills?
The government don't focus, government recruitment system don't focus on skills, they focus on certificate. It's only the private sector that is trying to even look at the skills. As you carry a big certificate, that's what government is looking at. They don't care about your performance level. They don't even have the capacity to evaluate performance. That's why people can still use sums of money. They are only caught at the end when the damage is done. Because why you are there stealing up, there's no check and balance.
Let me give
How can the GO be signing certificate without the certificates going to the issuing authorities? Only for them to come at the end and then say, oh, all the certificates are fake. How did the certificate pass a whole a public administrator, a government office?
with the government.
So with the government stamp on it
signatures.
and signatures, and then somebody somewhere say no, these documents are fake.
Which means that if such we cannot count the countless number of other certificates probably that have been signed by the level of the division officer that have gone out of Cameroon.
At my level, there was I think 2 years ago, a professor came from US with a very big certificate, professor in the economic planning and what. I said, wow. I said, no, I'll contact the institution. I wrote a simple letter, scanned the certificate and sent. I was shocked by the response. That man entered that PhD program in 1994, abandoned the PhD program, but came to Cameroon with certificate. That's what I'm saying. That if we want to,
there it can be traced.
no, there is trace. There they tell you that he wrote, he didn't finish. And those are people moving around, give big grammar in suits.
The same thing in Douala.
That's what I say. It's in Douala that I saw that. What are you talking?
Doctor, professor.
So it's bad. But again, I will not blame them. It's economic pressure. When you come, people know that you are doing a PhD program, you never have a certificate, you are under pressure. How do you now tell your family members that you spent all these years in Europe, you don't have the PhD? And you are now of age, because the man was an elderly person of about 50-something. You are now of age, you have to come back to Cameroon. What do? You know that Cameroon is a country where nobody check anything. So you just fake the certificate and come and now start disturbing people with it.
Okay.
You know, so
okay, we're coming back to you. Mr. Asia, let's look at the secondary school sector now. You talked about the fact that there are principals who probably are operating on these certificates which are not verifiable. Now, when the students that you guys are training, now, this issue about fake certificate, is it not coming based on training of these students who are of the mentality that is only matricle, that is the key, that you must have a matricle?
That should not be the problem, because you see, I've said here that we have a system that is a copy and paste system. You see, our educational system is a colonized educational system. The colonial masters were theoretical in their educational system. They were training Cameroonians to serve them as clerks, to serve them in their offices. That is why, as secretaries. So we took this type of educational system that is still what we are using right up to today. So you see, we cannot produce Cameroonians that have skills. We produce Cameroonians that are theoretical. Like my engineer is saying the other way, there are places that we can actually seek employment. But where are we going to have those skills? The educational system that we put in place is such that we can only train people that will be literate. They are only
read and write.
Read and write. And that is why you see, yes, that's why you see there is currently a proposal now within the Ministry of Secondary Education that has been proposed by the private sector. And that proposal is on how the educational system of Cameroon can be rehauled. Because if you see, we have, for example, a doctor said here that somebody is doing A1. If you do A1 right up to doctorate level, what are you going to prove out as skill?
I'm going to write books.
What? So you see,
in front of the Prime Minister.
You see the system, the training in the secondary school system. There is nothing they can do. We are, for example, they have brought in another educational system that now we are looking at the competence-based approach. Now, what is the competence that we are looking for? What is the teaching, learning environment that can even bring out the skills?
How ready are the teachers?
You come, you bring them for a seminar for 1 day, and you expect a teacher to know something that is supposed to be maybe a 6-month training period. And how effective would these teachers be in field? So the educational system in Cameroon has a problem. So you cannot say it's because of what the teachers are doing that the children cannot have skills. The children will remain like that because we are having a theoretical educational system. So, but I still feel fake certificates, if there is a body that is put in place that can issue certificate, let me say, a body is in charge of first school, a body in charge of ordinary level, a body in charge of advanced level, degree, and why not?
For identification.
Good. There will be no problem like fake certificate in Cameroon. I think that is the simple solution to this. Because if we want to talk about fake certificate, with the nature I've set, the nature of our certificate, if you look at some of our certificate degrees that are offered by the state university, it's like a paper that you just speak on the way. You don't even look at it and have the appetite, and you look at it as something that somebody struggled for 3 years or for 5 years to have it. It's a mere paper like that that has no quality. No quality. So you see, the certificate needs to have a body that produces certificates that are authentic. I think the secondary school, insofar as we are still in this system of education, the children will come out with no skills. No matter what we do, there will still be room for fake certificates.
Thank you very much. This message says, on this issue of certificates, fake certificates, the government is not even producing certificates. I don't know what you meant by that. This one says, excuse me. This one says, greetings, learned minds. I weep for my late parents again because they said we will have a better life than them, but theirs were the best. Leaders are fake, because I am about going to retirement, and those I read as ministers in SN Tita are still leading us. Police are fake because what they arrest and harass and collect from citizens are all fake. Those governing us are
fake.
And most of our youths have copied how to scam. Tax system is horrible. It's horribly fake. This so-called hygiene and sanitation, we're sealing shops in Moliko on Thursdays and Fridays. Why the whole government school, Ndongo entrance, the new road through GTHS to NFC, dirt and gutters are filled with debris. I cry the blood, sweat, and struggle for this fatherland. Masu, writing from the town of legendary hospitality, Boya. This other message coming from George Kawa from America. It says, if students went through this examination successfully, it therefore means that our certificates are worthless. This goes to tell us that certificates are not the test of knowledge. Today, we are talking about fake certificates in Cameroon. Do you know that many Cameroonians are running around with fake driver's licenses, fake passports, and fake identification cards? The list is long.
Otherwise, even the worse.
This other one says, good afternoon, Javis and panelists. I think I concur with Dr. Michael Dimancho. The government only cares on making money when concours are launched. A friend of mine spent £1 million for a military concours during the last recruitment. And after all the training, a long list came out that they went in with fake certificates. He is now in the quarter with already military training. Just imagine what he can do with the skills. This is Rene from Bonaberry. This other one, right, it says, greetings to you all. We need to really look into private higher education. It's becoming poor than the public universities. They are interested in financial benefits. This all right, it says, greetings to you all in the studio. I remember when they launched the recruitment at the Northwest Regional Assembly Office, and documents they needed were non-conviction, 5,000 francs, certified certificates. If you have 2, it is 3,000. You need to go to the National Employment and register. If you have more than 2 certificates, how much is that? And about 1,000 people applied. Christian from Bamenda. We'll suspend the messages for now, but just keep sending your thoughts. Dr. Michael, we are looking at this fake certificate, and you talked about the fact that let's look at skills. Now, is there not also fake? Someone may have the original certificate, but has a fake training, because the increased higher educational system is giving room for a lot of fakeness, that we are not focused on the paper, which Napoleon said in the book Animal Farm, that human beings are ruled by toys, which means that it's just the paper that we need and not the skills. Now, what of higher education, which are, of course, glorified secondary school? Because Professor Bernard Fordon, I'm sure you have read that book, in his book titled The Genuine Intellectual, says that a university is not for mindless mob, but for talented tent. He says universities that don't have libraries and research facilities are more of glorified secondary schools. Now, you are a pedagogue. You are someone within higher education. How do you look at these, our secondary schools? Do you think they actually produce graduates that can do the job, or fake graduates with authentic certificates?
Fake graduate.
Let me give you an example. First of all, I have a friend who went to EUT, where he did computer, something like in computing, and he was sent to do an internship in a general education school. This guy, through his connection, because in Cameroon, let's not forget the issue of connection, because I was going to come to that, because we're even talking about these fake certificates. What about children of bourgeoisies who get into these training grounds and their certificates are not checked? We have had children of high personality in Cameroon who have entered INAM without the right formation.
Without mentioning names.
Yeah, I don't want to mention names. We all know. We all know. We all know that. Because we are talking about a topic that Cameroonians, they know. Cameroonians, they know this. You cannot fool Cameroonians about some of these topics. They know. Imagine what those children will come out to be. So we have somebody, because of his political leanings, doesn't even go to school in the formation. They take you and send to go and do an internship in a school. You know nothing about what you went to school to do. So you realize that that person, what knowledge is he going to give to the school? It is an empty vessel. And therefore the children there will come as empty vessels. They will pass through school, and school will not pass through them. This is what happens in Cameroon. So, and my brother said, I'm sure engineer also said it, that are we talking about certificates or we're talking about competence? Because certificate is one thing and competence is another. There are still people who have gone to school and gotten the real certificate, who there's water.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Water. Water. I mean nothing. Nothing up here. Nothing upstairs. I mean nothing upstairs.
Yeah, but thanks to certificate, fake.
I am in I'm at a higher education where we have seen all lot of things. Where you pay people to write your dissertations. You pay people to write your thesis. If I'm revealing this to you, not I'm revealing. This is what happens in Cameroon, where there are students, even PhD students, who don't write their thesis. They pay other people to write. That kind of a student, he comes out with an authentic PhD.
And goes and cry to the ministry.
And goes to the ministry in Yaoundé because he doesn't know, because there's what we call motivation. When you're writing a PhD, there's a methodology. There's what we call motivation. What has motivated you to write or to research on this topic?
It's the same thing like masters.
And the answer is always, it is to solve a problem. They are motivation to solve a problem. You have seen a need, right? You want to solve a problem. Those kind of students, what problem are they solving? This is a class. That is the
social class
that is it. What are they solving as a problem?
Because you want to belong to the social class.
You want to eat gizzard. I have a colleague who used to say that doctors who eat on a gizzard, who only go and sit there waiting for gizzard because they are called doctors. Yes, and then they wait for gizzard because they respect doctors so much. When they come, they identify them and they give them gizzard. So this is what we are talking about. So you see, we have to. What are we testing? People's competence, or even those who test, those who come with a certificate. What competence do they have? See, we should question these things.
So everywhere is fake.
It's fake. It is fake. Let me tell you that the strictest person I've known in Cameroon is a person who is not competent.
Yeah.
That's the most honest person.
No, take it as a philosophy.
No, strict.
Yes, strict.
Yeah.
A person who's really strict in Cameroon
Is rigid.
is really rigid. Is a person who's not competent.
Yeah.
That is what we have to understand in all of these things. Cameroon is a photocopy country.
Copy and paste.
Yes, copy and paste. It's a photocopy country.
It's copy and paste.
It's a country of buy and sell arms.
No, you cannot call our
no.
beloved
My
nation.
brother,
Our beloved
let me
nation.
give you an example.
That
When you even
Dr. Michael.
Where I'm telling you, we don't produce.
Yes,
What do you
of
produce? Okay,
no.
when you want to sell the business in Cameroon, you pay. In Cameroon you pay what you call a TVA.
Value added tax.
What value on what?
On what?
Because value on my brother. Value is on what you produce.
Doctor.
No,
you have asked what we produce. Let me answer you.
Yes, what do you produce? Beer.
Corruption.
Good, you produce corruption. That is fine. That one doesn't need any certificate, right? It doesn't need certificate because that one is produced fake certificate, and that is why in a concours of 2,000 people, you have 1,500 pounds if you won't have fake certificate because that corruption is produced by fake certificate.
We produce footballers too, eh?
Footballers.
We have Samuel.
And that is why you have a guy of 30 years having in Cameroon age of 17.
It depends.
Fake age.
Fake age. What do you mean by depend? Let's just talk about this topic. It is Cameroon or Cameroon. And I usually say that anybody who cannot live in Cameroon cannot live anywhere. That is true because Cameroon is a free-going country. You imagine that I work in some of these things. This certificate people write to go to Canada. The eyes and this French one, the TTSF and all of those. Let me tell you, there are people with ready money. They don't want to study to write.
Yeah, I concur.
Where?
Two came to me.
I'm telling you.
Is there a way we can write?
We can write this thing without writing. They don't want it.
British Council will ban you.
That is the thing. I've had people who have banned them for 5 years.
The British Council will ban you.
That is the thing. What is this country heading to? And you ask yourself. So people have this money, and sometimes they charge them as much as 1 million francs there.
And they are ready to pay.
And they are ready to pay.
To run away from this country.
To run.
Now, we are only talking about certificates. What has caused corruption in Cameroon is this issue of rushing. People don't want to waste time. I don't want to call the region where people say they don't want to waste time in Yaoundé. And that region that started corruption in Cameroon. They go to Yaoundé. They say, je n'ai pas le temps à payer. Pardon, first as he's doing, he's giving an envelope. And that is where corruption started. Now people said, oh, we can get to this. There is money in this thing.
So let's delay.
Let's delay this thing. When you delay this thing,
money comes out.
Voila. We are even talking about certificate. Let us talk about this thing, Javis. When you even succeed to get into this thing, do you know how it means to get an advancement in Yaoundé? Even when you have really taken, you are taken. I mean, you are working in the government.
Doctor, work hard, you'll be advanced and
work
pray.
Work hard, you will be advanced.
Man of God.
Javis, go and meet the man of God and pray. That's why we are all closing down warehouses to put churches because we want to pray. Stop prayers and work. Cameroon needs to rise up. That somebody will work, and then you need to have your dues, and they need to come to Yaoundé, and they say, talk now. You come and sit, and they say, talk now. You say, what am I talking? You say, talk now. You don't know the language. Talk now.
Talk like a Cameroonian.
That is the thing. They keep you telling you play hotel and come. Now you get tired, pay in the hotel, and you say the best thing, Massa. Just to talk. You know the language already.
I don't know. Talk what?
Give the money under the carpet, pass it, and go back to your station as soon as possible.
And wait for your bank account.
And want your bank account to be stolen. And stolen even halfway. Because what you are expecting, you not have it. So this is what is happening. We are only talking about the certificates. Okay? People are look at those who pay. Even those who pay and go to Enam and have the real certificates. And then before long, 1, 2, 3 years, they have a mass. They are building story buildings. They are building skyscrapers. And then when you ask them, they tell you, Master, I spent a lot to get to this place. I need to take back the money that I spent. This is how the cycle goes, and it goes, and it goes. Now, the question we are asking now is, what are we testing when you really want to test people? When you go for a gendarmerie or a soldier or army or whatsoever test, are they depending on the GC board for competence, or they are depending on the competence on the ground that they see? Because my brother talked about competence-based approach. We have what we call there's a learning approach whereby you have to be able to produce
the PMB.
No, it's not really PBL.
Yeah, PBL.
PBL, problem-based learning. Yes, okay. You should be able to produce. You should be able to solve a problem. And that is why in that case now the teacher is just 25% in teaching. The student, yes, it's teamwork. And that's why at the end, there's also what we call the important point is the debrief, where the student actually is able to defend. They come back and now they sit as a teacher and all, and they say, this is what you know, this is what you did. The student is able to prove what he can do. Now, when you sit in your office or in the concours exam, and you are depending on what the first school living teachers they offered as a competence, or you are depending on what the GC board offered in the honor level, or you are depending on the first school, and forgetting what the candidate have now, what he can offer.
But doctor, even if you have just raised an issue, depending on what we're given at the level of ordinary level, it's only where us here in Africa that you will be writing an exam and they will tell you that it's Mongo Park that discovered River Niger.
That is it. The system that has a problem.
We were trained to memorize. We were not trained to think, to develop, to innovate. We were trained only we were only trained to renovate.
And they have made to imagine.
Yeah, we are not trained to imagine. That is why you keep sending you back to the history that you learned in secondary school. Even when you are in the PhD, they ask you to bring your ordinary level or school living certificate because they want you to remember what you had.
And they make us to understand that an educated person is how much grammar you can speak.
That is the thing. And then they tell you how the River Uri was, it was the river of Pram, discovered by the Portuguese. And I'm asking myself, where were the Douala people when they came and discovered the River Prams? So the Douala people were not living here. And this is the problem. Cameroon. Our curriculum is not set by us. Our curriculum is set and dictated to us.
Engineer Dixon.
Yes, Mr. Davis.
We copied it.
Mr. Asia raised an issue, talked about the secondary school level, the competent-based approach. But now he raised also an issue that how do you bring teachers for a one-day seminar for an approach that you have to form them that can take about 6 months, and you give them 1 day, you expect them to go and transform the minds of students. Now, this also brings us to the higher education family, where you have people who are teaching digital marketing in school that don't have
a Facebook page.
People who are teaching digital marketing, they don't even know about content creation.
They don't even know Instagram.
You have people who are teaching economics who are very poor.
Of course.
They are teaching us economics. You have people who are teaching entrepreneurship.
You know, motivational speakers are very poor people.
You have
you publish a book on motivation as a motivation, and then you're asking someone to give you money to go and print.
You have people who are teaching entrepreneurship that don't own a single business.
They have never run a business in their life.
You have people who should come and handle courses in engineering who probably have never actually had something tangible that they have produced.
Yeah.
Is that not the problem here? That is pushing us with fake certificates. We may have fake knowledge but authentic certificate.
Yes, Mr. Javis, to overhaul an educational system, I think Mr. Asia talked about the move in the secondary school. I just listened, but he again highlighted a limitation in the implementation of the overhauling the ministry wants to do. You cannot do something where you don't know. Let me say like the best song. Yes, I think yes, our philosopher, our former coach. These things are ideas. Before all of this balance came, I always say in the 90s we had the self-reliance. We sang the songs in 11 February.
That's why we had the domestic science.
And self-reliance was I have not seen any educational system at the primary that was more effective, that has been more effective than self-reliance, where there was manual labor, where every child did agriculture.
Handwork.
We plant corn. We did handwork.
Domestic science, real science.
You cook, irrespective boy or girl. You cook. You see? So the self-reliance to me was more effective than this big term, competent-based approach.
That's what China is using, eh?
Self-reliance.
China is using
Self-reliance. So if we say we are going to train a child in programming, for example, we don't need to come to class and start saying programming is the we define then give small assignment. No, we come and say we'll give a project. All right, guys, we are going to design a system, a transcript system for an institution. And what are the elements we are going to need? We need the program. We have to run a program. We need a database. To me, I think all of this, why I say there's a limitation, it comes with huge resources. Even in private higher education. Not that people don't have these ideas. Some founders get into this for money. That's why I am using the platform to plead with the minister that certain founders are not eligible to own private higher institutes. They should forget about the money aspect. If you have somebody that wants to run a higher institute, that person must be able to demonstrate the president's vision, which I think one of the program here, we read the articles, the policies the head of state has set for the organization of higher education in Cameroon.
32-page document.
32-page document. Every founder has to read that document.
But the sad reality is that most founders don't even have the
document. They don't care.
They have his document to create.
Let me tell you how they start the university. They call somebody in the ministry, I have 2 million, can I have authorization? They say, yes, send the memo to this person. They send. Somebody is compiling the file, poop, they go and start building structure. Then they take young boys, they are tormenting. Say, oh, when the student pays school fee, we'll pay you. They keep students 1 semester, teachers 1 semester, no salary. If you can't pay salary, is it the lab equipments, the computers you are going to buy? That is what I'm talking about. So you see where the limitation is. So it's one thing to talk about the smart ideas that we have about the way we can transform the educational system, but where are the limitations? Because if we lost sight of the limitation, you end in talking. But when we start looking at what we can actually do to transform this education so our children can get out and even become self-employed, because the world is going digital. The Nigerians are making huge sums of money online.
Oh yes, Nigerians are everywhere online.
You see 20-year-old children, they are buying cars. I had problem with my father. I bought my junior man laptop. He is in secondary school. My father said, why are you buying this man laptop? I said, Daddy, I never had this opportunity. Let this man have the opportunity. Oh. This man needs to know how to use laptop at this stage. Oh. Before he gets to my age, he should be very good in it. Because I have already seen where the economy is going. Digital. So if we in our university days, because we went into university at a time where 1 hour of internet was 500 francs, these children should know this.
The highest social media was email.
It was email. Some of us saw email only in 2002 and 2003. So our educational background was tough. But the thing is, we are like a bridge. I don't know if you understand. We are like a bridge. We saw the old and the new.
Yeah,
we are in a better place to really judge on what is going well, what is not going well. Because our fathers who were ahead of us, they are going. But now what can we do? We should remove all these BB certificates. For me to go and spend time in PhD, bring that money you want to go and do PhD, let's set up something.
Because
and let's put these ideas together.
A friend of mine told me that to defend a PhD, you must have at least more than 2 million. After you must have finished your dissertation.
Voila.
After you must have finished writing. That you have to pay the hotel that will launch the
You know
panel.
what it means to bring 4 professors?
4 professors.
Voila.
That you have to bring the professors you are bringing, you have to pay their lodging, pay their transportation, pay their fee, give them the PDM to sit on that panel. And the question we're asking is, isn't the state giving money for research?
That is why the president stopped
it, yeah.
PhD.
Yeah,
Mr. Javis.
Since last year.
PhD was stopped because of this crookery.
Yes.
That state professors and all of these state universities were doing. Yeah. That's why sometimes I say people talk about the head of state. When the head of state said manage this, it gives you the go ahead to manage it. But because you are inside CBDM, you make the whole thing, it becomes a cabal. Because the head of state is somebody who doesn't speak often. He's not that kind of person that comes out. He's an introvert. He's that kind of leader that leads from behind. It doesn't lead
Take
from
the
in front. Unlike the young man we had now in Burkina Faso, who is a leader that leads from in front, Traoré. He can do that. He's young. But do you think if Traoré gets to the age of the president now, he will be in front? You will be behind, and then you put people in front. But you observe, and the thing is, even the people that I said go and monitor the system for me, they go there. They are thinking of their pockets. So at the end of the day, he looks at everybody corrupt. It's okay. If that's what people want to see, because if I want to hit the out of the table, all of you are going to prison. So what should we do?
To defend the page means that you have to have 2 million just to invite 2 people.
Do you know what 2 million can do? You spend how many years? You are looking at that 2 million. The years you spend is sometimes 5 years. You are spending money.
Those 5 years,
all is
they don't ask for fear. When you want to defend now, they calculate everything and you pay before you defend.
So you see that you are spending about 5-6 million.
Yes.
Now, when you get a PhD, you start fighting for.
That these people have to go and sit at the prime minister.
You have the right to go and sit in front of prime minister. You start fighting for position.
They say that the fee in Cameroon is very cheap. Anyway, 150,000.
So to me, we should look at the educational system differently. All these big certificates doesn't make an economy work. I repeat. So the policies on ground, the tax food start from the taxation policy, which Dr. Michael made mention of. I think it's Mr. Ezia. The tax system is in a black box. Go to the tax office today and ask that you want to start a small, you want to know the tax that you pay. Nobody will give you all that. But when you start running, you see men coming in front of your store. Nobody know where you are coming from with money, but they want to take their own.
Like you should talk no. Talk
no.
So it has come a time where we need to visit every sector. We need to visit every sector and bring in some cleansing.
Okay.
Not only the fake certificate that we are talking about.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the statement. We have fake graduates with authentic certificates from these small private universities in Boya. Such is happening. Their heads are empty. I am a lecturer and supervise students, and they pay for their research, and the universities are only concerned for fees only. It's coming from an anonymous seller. The rate of corruption in Cameroon is something that can never end. The other day, I was charged by Yaoundé 5 councillor for occupying a shop near the road, 30,000 francs CFA. I argued until I got tired, and I paid the required amount only for them to give me a receipt of 4,000 francs. That he was, I take their message again. The rate of corruption in Cameroon is something that can never end. The other day, I was charged by Yaoundé 5 council for occupying a shop near the road, 30,000 francs. I argued until I got tired and paid the required amount only for them to give me a receipt of 4,000. Which means that they definitely robbed this guy of 26,000 francs. Wow.
The problem of manual system.
Yeah, it's a problem of manual system. Greetings to all in the studio. I am enjoying the program and it's so educative. Competency in Cameroon is a problem, and the government is the main cause because they don't go for those who fit, but those who have the money. I did technical education. After the advanced level, I wrote the entrance exam into INSET with my 4 different friends in the same department, and none of us succeeded. But I know of a boy and a girl who succeeded in the same department, but who did act in general education. Now they want to send them to go and teach building construction in technical school. How can these people ever teach after leaving people who started from one in the same field? Now, whose fault in such cases? Cameroon is a mess. The money issue has finished everything. This one right, it says, Obia Brian, greetings to you on the studio. I suggest that the institutions in charge of issuing end of course certificates should put in place digital platform to verify the authenticity of the document they issued. This will resolve problems of state administrators and other competent authorities moving forward with candidates who provide erroneous or doubtful information. We are partly out of time. Mr. Ezia, thank you for coming. Your last word before we go.
Yes, my last word.
And way forward.
The way forward, as I've said, is to put in place a control body that can control the certificate and also issue our certificate. I'll end by greeting Mr. Mbeng Felix, Happy Father's Day, Mr. Ngamni Joseph, Happy Father's Day, and all the viewers of my media prime.
Dr. Michael Dimancho, author to several books, with the one Noni, the Untold History of an Indescribable People. And now, the last word before we go and way forward.
Well, way forward is that we should even stop this issue of, going for public civil servants. This thing is an African or Cameroonian mentality.
The matricule syndrome.
The matricule syndrome. That people, if you have already done training, you should be able to create a job. And that's why I'm talking about the motivation. If you have done your training, it doesn't even matter. I think people even condemn, general education is not for nothing. General education is still important. Because with general education, you can use that even and tailor it to what you want. And therefore, I encourage Cameroonians, be you a first school level, be honor level, be advanced level. You can. There are a lot of people. When we even have the biggest millionaires we have in Cameroon, we don't talk about certificates.
Yeah,
we don't.
Most of the CEOs,
they don't have the certificate. So what is this thing?
They have not even been to university.
They have not been to university. So what is this thing about flogging for civil service or matricule and every day and going for fake certificates and tarnishing your image for nothing? I think that I advise my brothers and sisters, Cameroonians,
to think of being productive.
Think of being productive.
Voila.
Think of what you can. Because what is being productive? Looking at what you
can serve
in the society. What is this society having that you can even be able to serve it?
Thank you, Doctor.
That is what we are having.
Now, Doctor, how much is this book?
This book is 5,000 francs. But launch, I know that you can change the life of a writer. And if you say you're launching of 100, because it's an ongoing research. You remember, I'm going back to the history of the Noni people, which has not been found anywhere. Even if you go to the internet, it doesn't found. So I'm the first person that is producing. I'm going to put it online, digitalize it.
That is not before the colonial masters.
Exactly. And therefore, it is an ongoing research. I want to delve into the tradition, where the people came from, and the economic activity of the people, because this is about it. People live in the villages and going, they don't know the potentials. You leave gold and you go to look for maybe silver or whatsoever. You don't know that you are sleeping on gold.
Okay,
and that's why I talk about the economic activities and all the self-help initiative.
You are talking about the fact that I can launch 100,000, but the country now, things are very different.
Don't mind. People have money. When you see the buildings that people are putting up, you ask yourself whether there is economic crisis.
We journalists, we are just doing that.
Journalists are the richest people having
At least, I cannot come alone. Engineer Dixie, who is a big engineer.
Of course, I know that.
We'll see what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for coming here.
Yes, Mr. Javis, I think we are here in House of Commons. We have a responsibility to educate Cameroonians as well as our fathers who are in the helms of affairs of this nation. I want to plead that whoever is in a position to serve this nation, we should do it with a lot of integrity because our children are watching. Happy Father's Day to all fathers.
Greetings to you, House of Commons. Nearly everything in this country is fake. People are either moving with fake certificates, real competency, or authentic certificates with fake competency. This thing starts even from the primary school. For instance, children buy brooms, chairs, and even present real cash as handwork in school to the child. Thank you very much. And also, if you I'm sorry, that message, the last message is kind of very true. It's true to who we are, because you buy handwork and go and present it as handwork. How is that handwork? And like I said, 4,000 bags of rice were given 4 years ago during the period of COVID-19. Last week made 4 years. 4,000 bags of rice were given by Lebanese to help us during the period of lockdown. One bag of rice we have still not seen. We don't know where it is, who had them, where were they divided. The question is, where are those 4,000 bags of rice? Why we look for fake certificate and call those people in question? Those 4,000 bags of rice who disappeared, how different are they from those who actually had the fake certificate? This is House of Commons. Thank you for watching. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter these days is that Happy Father's Day. And mothers, please, Take our fathers out. Don't say, babe, take us out since it's Father's Day. Take us out, because on Mother's Day, we take you out. Desmond Akiba, thank you very much. And also, thank you to Alan and also those who took our time to produce the program. See you until we meet again. Stay out of trouble. My name is Tah Javis from Cameroon's commercial capital, Douala. Au revoir.